Getting ahead of yourself. That's something that I probably dealt with most of my life. But what I think is going on right now, I don't think I know, is that most of you, if not all of you, are vacillating between abject fear and yet wild hopes and promises of God that you're beginning to see glimpses of fruit from, and yet it's balanced with just total abject fear. And this is the exact time we're in. We're in that time almost of Av, which the 9th of Av is, the day the Israelites decided that they were going to believe the 10 spies who gave the bad report rather than Joshua and Caleb. And consequently, every bad thing that's happened to the Jews as a nation has happened on the 9th of Av, the desolation or the destruction of both temples. I think that was the exact day that the Jews were kicked out of Spain. Oddly enough, that same day, if I'm remembering it correctly, or right around that same time, Columbus's ships were getting ready to sail. So that's pretty interesting. So, and that's the other side of this time period. The Israelites decided to believe the fears more than the fruit that they saw with their own eyes. This huge piece, this huge grapes, a bunch of grapes took 2 people to carry, and they decided to believe their fears. But that comes because the enemy gets you ahead of yourself. All God ever asks us to do is the next step, the next thing he tells us to do. All the Israelites had to decide was they didn't have to defeat the giants that day. They just had to decide that, yes, we're going to move into the promised land like the Lord told us to do. They got way ahead of themselves and way ahead of God, going, how are we going to do this? So don't fall into that trap. This is the time period right now. And I know that the enemy is using lots of fear, especially the fear of death. And really all you have to do is stay focused on what the Lord is asking you to do today, and until you know that and he gives you grace to do it, you don't have to do it. Don't try to get ahead of yourself. That's the enemy's doing. He tries to get you in fear so that you'll be paralyzed and not go anywhere. And this is a time period when you have the freedom. This is a time period to advance and to begin to walk into the things of God. But you cannot get ahead of yourself. You can only take it one day. In fact, some of you, like me, can only take it a minute at a time. So something that you can do is, one thing I do is I abjectly refuse and resist and utterly rebuke all fear, doubt, and unbelief every day, among other things. But you can, if abject fear is coming at you, you can abjectly refuse it. Say, I refuse fear. I refuse to fear. And just say, okay, Lord, I submit myself to you, to your tuning fork. What do you want me to do today? And that's all you've got to do.